Today, I've got another exclusive video for you from the vault, and it's all about Post-it notes and getting organized. Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and while I am moving my craft room this summer and moving my family to a new state, I thought it would be fun to pull some formerly exclusive Patreon videos over here to YouTube to share with you, to give you some fun content and a look at some of the things we've done in Patreon. And right now we're throwing it way back to 2023 when we did a whole organization series to kick off the year. And today's video is all about the wonderful Post-it note. I use Post-it notes to help me get organized, not just to keep lists, but to help me organize my space. And that is what I'm going to talk about in today's video. So let's flash back to a younger version of me that still has some great things to say about organizing your craft room.
All right, no one is denying, no matter how big or small your space is, reorganizing your creative space, cleaning out your craft room is a very manual labor intensive thing to do. And it's really exhausting. Like, it's exhausting to do. It's tiring mentally, it's tiring physically, because a lot of times you're moving and lugging things. And so one of my solutions to kind of overcome that is Post-it notes. I use Post-it notes in the game plan process so that I can do a little bit of pre-planning without lugging all the things all around. So here's what I'm talking about. You are in the midst of your de-stash. Maybe you've started, maybe you're partway through, maybe you're done. Once you are into the de-stash process, you're going to start to see some different categories of things show up in your craft space. Those might be categories as far as the type of crafting. Maybe you have embroidery supplies. Maybe you have, who knows, maybe you have diamond painting supplies. Maybe you have supplies that are very specific to Bible journaling or to planning. You're going to start to see some categories by project type. You also might see some categories forming by just basic craft supply types. So for instance, you might have a bunch of different decorative paper. Stickers is another one that I think a lot of us have a lot of supplies for. Stamps, inks, paints, you're going to see some different things like that. The first decision that you have to make as you are looking at your Post-its and you're looking at your craft supplies is a big one. Am I going to organize by project, or am I going to organize by craft type? There is no right or wrong way to do it. It really depends on how you like to craft. Here is my caveat. I like a lot of different things. I like a lot of different projects, and a lot of my supplies are overlapping different projects. So I don't necessarily organize by project type unless it is a new hobby. For instance, I'm newly into creating some cool things with my Glowforge, where I am using some jewelry making supplies, some of those little loops and the keychains and the earring backs and all of that. So I don't have very much of that. I'm not super, like, it doesn't consume me yet. So I keep all of that in one place. However, paper, I'm going to use paper in all the things. So I need paper to be separate, not necessarily with my faith journaling or with my planning. I kind of feel the same way about stickers and washi tape and paints. I use them in all the things. So in those cases, I organize by supply. And in the cases where I have a new hobby or maybe some really specialized supplies that go with that hobby only, then I organize that in a smaller, more contained space. And I also tend to put that in a place where I can close it up completely and remove it if necessary, because some of those hobbies I'm not going to do all of the time. All right, let's get down to the Post-it notes. So you are in the midst of your process. You're going to take your Post-it notes and you're going to write on your Post-it notes your different supplies. All right, so I'm going to show you how to do this based on how I organize. So I'm going to start, I like colored Post-it notes. You don't need to have colored Post-it notes, but let's start going through some of the different categories of craft supplies I have. I'm going to write on the Post-it note the category, stickers. Now, if I think that proportionally in my craft room, I need more than one note of stickers. We'll get into how that kind of works. I'm probably going to have a couple different notes of stickers. So we'll have 2, and actually for my craft room, we're probably going to have 3. That's how that's going to work for me. I'm leaving the rest blank on those post-it notes for now. Then I'm going to move into washi tape. I know you guys might disagree, but I'm only going to need 1 post-it note for washi tape. We'll see how that one goes. When we get to paper, let's take a look. So I'm going to do paper, and I'm probably going to go ahead and give myself 3 post-it notes for paper. And this is really just thinking kind of proportionally in my craft supplies. This doesn't have to be a exact science, but I know that when I think of all my craft supplies, paper, it's going to take up 3 slots. It's going to be kind of equivalent with stickers. That's how it's going to go. Let's do another one. I'm going to put mixed media, and then I'm going to be slightly more specific. So this is something you can do. Underneath your bigger category, like mixed media, I'm going to have acrylic paint. Then I'm going to have mixed media sprays. I have a ton of sprays. And then I'm going to have mixed media tools. And then I'm going to have mixed media watercolors. And that'll start me off. So what I'm doing is basically making some larger umbrella categories, some big all-encompassing categories. And then within that, I can break it up more if I want, but you're trying to think big picture, because as you start to figure out where things are going to go in your craft space, you're going to want to know the big picture thing. So then for me, I have, I'm going to write books, because by books, I mean planners, I mean art journals, and I mean faith journals. But to me, those are all books that I'm working in. And I can be more specific and go through and write those. So basically what I'm doing is kind of doing an inventory of where or of what I have. These are the largest categories I can think of where things fit in. You're probably thinking, Elisa, you're missing some big ones. And of course, I'm going to write stamping, not just stamps, because I definitely have the stamps and I have the inks / tools. So we're going to see. Now, as I start putting these out, I might go, okay, now that I'm kind of seeing my proportions, I probably have 1 more thing of stickers. Maybe I have 1 more thing of stamps. I'm kind of adjusting my proportions. But the truth is, I end up with all of these categories. Go through, figure out what categories you have. Then, as you start organizing, you can pull things off of your shelves, empty them completely, and then use the post-it notes to help you decide where things are going to go, instead of putting things on and off and shifting and moving and opening your desk drawers. However it's going to go, you can use post-it notes for the organizing process. You can also make a plan with post-it notes. Make them smaller. Do a sketch of your room and kind of play with where everything might go before you do the manual labor. Post-it note piles are your best friend. Trust me. After you've done your de-stash, you are already tired because that is physical labor. Use your post-it notes to sit and help you plan. Far too often, we get through the de-stash, we're so pumped, and then we just throw things back on the shelves, back in our drawers, and you don't think really carefully about where everything, not only where everything fits, but where it belongs best. So, for instance, I know that I want my stickers and my washi tape to be close. And you know where else I want that to be close to? My planners. So I'm going to have that category going. Well, that means if I'm going to have my planners close to where those things are, I kind of like for that to flow into where the rest of my books are, because I don't want them to be like super scattered all over the room. So for me, in my craft room, that looks like I have a whole bookcase of stickers that is right next to my washi tape, which is located right above the beginning of my books and my other planners that are on the other side. So this is actually how, if you switch where this is actually how mine is organized in my space, what fits in my space. And it flows, if that makes sense. In my head, I'm like, all of these things are going together. The stickers go with the planners, which are over here, go with the washi tape, and this feeds into where all of the current books, meaning the current planners, the Bible journals, the art journals, are all right here as well. All of that goes together. I hope that that makes sense. Then I'm able to think of, okay, well, I probably want my mixed media together because it just makes sense. So I like having the liquid parts together. So those are going to be in a group somewhere located together. Then tools can be close, and that's probably going to spill into stamping tools because those are going to go in together. Also, stamping has ink, which can be mixed media. So I need that to be located. I want my stamps near where my stamping tools are. So this is, see how I'm like thinking through. And then paper, for me, because it's a large category, I'm probably getting off screen, because it's a large category, paper can be on the side because it kind of goes into all of this. I don't need it to be located throughout all of this, but I have it all together. I hope that makes sense. That might have been really fast, but do you see how I was able to kind of talk through it and group things with just the Post-it notes before I started just hauling things all over my room? I hope that that helps. Let's see what it also can be like when you're looking at your shelving. All right, so I definitely realize not everyone has cabinetry like I do, but oftentimes you have a bookshelf, a desk. Take your Post-it notes and use them to make a plan. So for me, that meant that I wanted my sprays and mixed media, my acrylic paint here. Well, then I also know, because that's there, that probably means I need my other mixed media close. So that's going to be, watercolors will be right here. I had stickers. I had a ton of stickers. You guys remember that. And that meant my stickers were over here, but I had some that bled over to here. Again, I can see that they're going to still be located close to each other. And then I had some more mixed media tools and started moving things around my space. I used Post-it notes to help me kind of come up with where everything was going to go. So if this was going to be primarily a stamping cabinet, then that meant stamping tools had to go here. This also helped me visualize. I would look at where I had planned for a space, and then once I started moving things in, I maybe noticed that things didn't fit. So I originally planned to have all of my stamping, everything in here. Well, turns out that didn't fit. So I had to make a new plan, move my Post-it note as I started to move things around. And that just helped me organize in a very visual way and make a plan, as opposed to just putting things on the shelf. You can do the same thing with a creative desk, your desk space, wherever it is you're working. You can do the same thing with a cart, just your craft cart. If that's what you're working with, use some Post-it notes, make a plan, get bins, empty the bins, put the Post-it notes on what fits in each bin and where that bin needs to be located as far as your workflow. And it's going to help you out so much, and it's going to make more sense in your head as opposed to just putting it in, just finding where it fits. A flow to your workspace is going to really spark your creativity. It's going to help you work smarter through any of the projects that you're working on, instead of things being scattered all over the place. I have a natural flow based on how I like to work in my space, and using Post-it notes help me. We are in this organization game planning for the long haul. Our goal, your goal, is to create a space that inspires you, that helps you to work, not just to tidy up your space. Tidying up your space, getting things put away, that's one thing. Making a true plan for organizing, thinking through how your space is going to flow, whether you're using a craft cart or whether you have a large basement like I do, is really important. The Post-it notes have been a great tool for me, so I highly encourage you to pull out your Post-its. Remember, they don't have to be all colorful like mine, but come on. Rainbows are fun. So I love the color. Pull them out. Start working on your categories. Now that you've done the destash, the categories are starting to bubble to the surface. take some time, spread out on your dining room table, pull out those Post-its and start playing with your groupings, with how things flow, with what needs to be near each other, and then how that will connect to the next part, and it will start making sense for you. I hope this was super helpful. As always, please let me know if you have any questions, if you're struggling with some of your categories. I would love to hear about that, and I'd love to help you work through those. So just leave me a comment here or in the Facebook group or on Patreon. Either way, I will definitely get back to you on that. And I want to see some pictures of your Post-its. So as you start pulling out Post-its, as you start working on your categories, snap a picture, post it to the Facebook group, and we would love to cheer you on. All right, I think that's it. I hope that you have a fabulous day. And as always, keep it creative.